going to do problem number 67, section 2.2 on page 75. It's down there in the lower right hand corner of the page, the hotel occupancy rate. The occupancy rate of the all-suite Wonderland Hotel located near an amusement park is given by, so they give us a function for the occupancy rate. And the domain variable, or my input variable, is time, measured at the very beginning of January all up to the very beginning of December. They also give us a revenue function, and it says management has estimated that the monthly revenue in thousands of dollars is approximated by, use capital R for the revenue. Notice the input variable here is the occupancy rate, R. And my domain here of this function is from 0 to 100%. The occupancy rate is a percentage. So notice the input variable for the revenue function is the output variable for the occupancy rate function. Now to illustrate that, they have a couple questions here. Part A says, what is the hotel's occupancy rate at the beginning of January? So the first function calculates the occupancy rate as a percentage, where T is the value at the beginning of the month. For January, T is equal to 0. That calculates pretty nice. All the terms vanish except the constant on the end, 55, and the output is in percentage, so 55%. And then at the beginning of June, now be careful with this one, the beginning of June would be T equal to 5. So putting 5 into the top function and calculating through, I would have 98.2 or 98.2% as my output. B, what is the hotel's monthly revenue at the beginning of January? So the monthly revenue, in this case, I'm going to use the revenue function. But it says at the beginning of January. The input to the revenue function is the occupancy rate. So I have to calculate the occupancy rate at the beginning of January to get the revenue at the beginning of January. So this would just be R of 55. And again, as I did before, I'm really, of course, just plugging values into my input variable there. I'm evaluating the function at different values of the input variable, in this case 55. And I get 71.2, but the output for the revenue function is in thousands of dollars. So the answer there is $71,200. And then the second part of B, it says at the beginning of June. What is the occupancy rate? Again, the revenue function requires you to input the occupancy rate, but they want the revenue at the beginning of June. I've got to calculate the occupancy rate at the beginning of June, which I actually already did in part A. So this would be R of the 98.2, and then evaluating my revenue function at the 98.2. I get $109.9 or $109,900. This problem is an illustration of composition of functions, where the output of one function is the input of another function. So at time t, the occupancy rate function calculates the occupancy rate, and then the revenue function is based on the occupancy rate, calculates the revenue.